Hi, today I would like to show you how to make a sweet little mouse and cheese pot out of clay. I use Dala air drying clay because it's a fantastic product, but you can use any clay that you've got at hand. For this project you would need a ball of clay roughly the size of a small orange, which translates to about half of a pot of Dala, a drawing stick, and of course your scratch and wet. So when we start, we always first squeeze and roll our ball into a sausage-like shape to make it easier for us to break. You can place your two chomping hands around, twist and pull so that you end up with two roughly equal pieces. Put one aside and the other one you can break into two pieces again. So one of them we're going to turn into a ball and then into a pinch pot. So keeping your fingers together and in a bowl-like shape, place that ball between your hands and squeeze gently, squeeze, pass them from one to the other and roll, squeeze, squeeze, roll, and keep doing that until you are satisfied with your ball. And now we can turn it into a pinch pot. So imagine the ball is the moon sitting in the sky, your thumb, the rocket ship flying high, and on the rocket ship there is a quack quack. So the rocket ship crashes into the moon and drills a hole into its core. Oh no, it's stuck. What are we going to do? Luckily you've got your orbiting hand. So your orbiting hand turns the ball of clay around and around the rocket ship, keeping only your thumb inside, fingers straight and together. You're going to gently press, so squeeze the edge, turn, squeeze, and keep doing this, taking your time, making that hole bigger and bigger, wider and wider. So please just take your time. If you find that a part is a little bit thicker on one side, give it a little bit more attention. So also look at it from the top. And of course, if it is a little bit cracky, you can simply dip your finger into a bit of water and smooth it out. So once you are satisfied with your pinch pot, you can simply buff it on top of the floor so that it's nice and sturdy. And then we're going to take this other piece of clay and break it into two pieces. You can roll it into a rough sausage between your hands, and then we're going to continue rolling it on the table. So remember, we're going to roll from the tippy tops of our fingers to roughly the middle of our palms. Roll gently backwards and forwards. Don't press too hard. If you press too hard and it goes a bit flat, turn it on its thinnest side, gently press down so that you turn it into a bit of a square, and then you'll see you'll be able to roll it again. So give it some attention. Keep looking at what you're doing. If it's a bit fatter on the one side, just give it a bit more attention. You can also use two hands. So what we want to do is we want to drape this sausage onto the top. So keep doing it until it fits nicely. If it's a bit too long, just break off a piece. And then we're going to scratch and wet it on. So remember to shake off the excess water and then put that scratch and wet. I want to see the scratching. I want to see this lovely glue that we are creating with our toothbrush. And then you can add that little sausage on top. Make sure that it's happy, and you can also just blend it in nicely. You can then use this other piece and roll it into another sausage and scratch and wet that on top so that you have a nice wide and high bowl. There we go. Blend it in, and there we have our sweet little bowl. Now we can make the lid. So we're going to take this extra other piece, break it in two again, and then this one piece again, roll into a nice ball, taking your time, squeeze and roll, and then we flatten it. So with this part of your hand under your thumb, you're going to flatten it, squeeze it nicely down, turn it around, buff, and keep measuring to see if it fits nicely on top of your little bowl. If it's a little bit cracky, again, dip your finger into the water and then just smooth it out. Now you can make the holes with your finger. You're simply going to press indentations into the lid. Don't press too hard. We don't want it to go right through. There we have our cheese. And then turn this piece around and chomp off a little piece of clay roughly the size of a grape, because we want to make a register. So you're going to roll it into a ball and flatten it so that it's roughly the thickness of a ginger biscuit. You can even roll it on the table a little bit and put some water, scratch and wet on there and put it on the bottom. The reason for that is so that you make a little register and your lid does not fall off. Okay, so now we've got our lid. There we go. And now we can make our mouse. So you can make your mouse any size you want to. You can make a whole family if you prefer. I'm going to chomp off a piece, again, roughly the size of a grape. Roll it into a nice ball. And then you have two choices. Either you can put the ball between your hands, keep your hands at an angle, almost like a book, and then you press down. So keep placing that little ball between your hands so that you're only rolling and pushing at the bottom of or at half of the ball so that it goes into a nice little pointy shape. Or you can take a ball and you can put your hand with your pinky down at an angle and again press down, rolling it, keep looking, rolling, looking, rolling, looking, until you have a nice little carrot-like shape. And then you can take your shape and just flatten it slightly, scratch and wet it on top of your lid, and then we can make some ears, chomping off tiny little balls, I would say half the size of peas. And then you can flatten them gently. Shake off that water, scratch and wet them on towards the front of the mouse body. There's his nice little snout. You can make a tiny little ball and again scratch and wet that onto the front of his nosy. And then lastly, take a little piece of clay. I would say also again roughly the size of a marble, and then roll it into a tail. You can make it going thinner, tapering a little bit. You can take your stick and make a hole at the bottom and then plant your tail in there and just drape it nicely around. And don't forget to make the eyes, and you can even make little whiskers. If you want to, as I said, you can make a family or little bits of clay, of cheese on top of it. And once it is dry, you can paint it with some craft paint and seal it with some deco varnish and enjoy your little bowl. Thank you very much.